Tonight the world faces a chilling question. Where is Iran's uranium? As darkness falls over the Middle East, a sense of unease settles across the globe. The lights in Iran's cities flicker, and in newsrooms everywhere, the tension is palpable. The world is holding its breath, waiting for answers that may never come. 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium, enough to build a nuclear weapon, has vanished from Iranian facilities in the aftermath of devastating U.S. airstrikes. The destruction left behind is staggering, but the true danger lies in what can't be seen. The missing uranium, now unaccounted for, and the uncertainty of where it might surface next. This isn't a clerical error. It's a catastrophic breach of global security. Alarms blare in control rooms, and security teams scramble to piece together what went wrong. Around the world, intelligence agencies are on high alert, racing against time to track the missing material before it's too late. The missing uranium could empower a rogue state, or worse, fall into the hands of terrorist organizations with the means and motive to use it. The nightmare scenario is no longer unthinkable, it's a real and present danger, lurking in the shadows. Shockwaves have hit every capital, from Washington to Beijing, London to Moscow. Governments are scrambling to respond, holding emergency meetings and issuing urgent warnings. The world's most powerful nations are suddenly united by a single, terrifying question. Who controls the uranium now? The United Nations is in emergency session, diplomats arguing late into the night. Global markets are in turmoil, with investors fearing the worst. On the streets, ordinary people gather around televisions, their faces etched with worry as they watch the crisis unfold in real time. Every hour without answers pushes the world closer to disaster. The clock is ticking, and with each passing moment, the risk of catastrophe grows. Anxiety spreads like wildfire, leaving cities eerily quiet and people glued to their screens, desperate for any sign of hope. How did we get here? What went wrong in the delicate dance of diplomacy and deterrence? The world is left to sift through the ashes of failed negotiations and broken promises, searching for clues in a timeline of escalating tensions and missed opportunities. This is the story of a crisis born from failed diplomacy, military gambles, and a vanishing act that now threatens the fragile peace we all depend on. The breach at the facility was not just a physical one, it was a breach of trust, of international agreements, and of the world's sense of security. We'll trace the events leading to the airstrikes, the frantic search for the uranium, and the fractured international response that followed. Investigators in hazmat suits comb through rubble, while world leaders face the press, their frustration and fear barely concealed. In a world of nuclear secrets and espionage, clarity is rare. But the stakes have never been higher. Intelligence agencies pore over satellite images and classified documents, trying to piece together a puzzle with global consequences. The missing uranium isn't just Iran's problem, it's a threat to us all. From families watching the news in their living rooms to leaders gathered at urgent summits, everyone is touched by the shadow of this crisis. The risk is global, and the responsibility to act is shared by all nations. The world demands answers, but time is running out. As the countdown continues, the choices made in the coming hours will shape the future of international security, and perhaps, the fate of the world itself. Years of simmering tension and mistrust set the stage for this crisis. The world has watched as Iran and the West have navigated a minefield of suspicion, failed negotiations, and shifting alliances. Each diplomatic meeting, each handshake, was shadowed by the weight of history and the fear of what might come next. In 2015, hope flickered with the signing of the nuclear deal known as the JCPOA. The agreement was designed to limit Iran's nuclear ambitions in exchange for sanctions relief, offering a rare moment of optimism. But in 2018, the US abruptly withdrew, reigniting old hostilities and unraveling years of painstaking diplomacy. The fragile trust built over years was shattered almost overnight. In response, Iran accelerated its nuclear program, ramping up uranium enrichment far beyond the limits set by the deal. Centrifuges spun faster, and the world grew increasingly anxious as Iran edged closer to weapons-grade material. By late 2024, international inspectors sounded the alarm. Iran's uranium stockpile had reached 60% purity, a threshold that alarmed both the US and Israel. This was no longer just a diplomatic dispute, it was a red line, a point of no return. As rhetoric hardened and tempers flared, diplomatic efforts collapsed. Leaders exchanged accusations, and the world watched as the window for peaceful resolution slammed shut. On May 15, 2025, the crisis reached a breaking point. The US, determined to halt Iran's progress toward a nuclear weapon, launched a series of coordinated airstrikes on key Iranian nuclear sites. The goal was clear: stop weapons-grade enrichment before it was too late. The strikes were precise, targeting critical infrastructure, but the aftermath was anything but orderly. Fires raged, alarms blared, and chaos swept through the bombed facilities. Iran's leaders condemned the attacks in the strongest terms, vowing retaliation. Protests erupted in the streets, and the parliament convened in emergency session. But beneath the public outrage, a far more dangerous development was unfolding. Amid the confusion and destruction, 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium vanished without a trace. The world's worst fears were realized. Not only had the strikes failed to secure the material, but they had also created a new and terrifying mystery. The airstrikes, intended to solve a problem, had instead unleashed a crisis of unprecedented scale. Investigators scrambled to piece together what had happened, but the damage was done. Newsrooms around the globe erupted with breaking news. World leaders rushed into emergency meetings, grappling with the reality that a massive quantity of enriched uranium was missing, and no one knew where it had gone. The uranium is gone, and the crisis has only deepened. International inspectors are left with more questions than answers, and the world is on edge. The stakes have never been higher. With the fate of the missing uranium unknown, the world stands at the brink of a new and dangerous chapter. Tensions escalated for months before the airstrikes. The IAEA warned of Iran's rapid progress, advanced centrifuges, 60% enrichment, and shrinking breakout time. Israel called it an existential threat, hinting at unilateral action. The US was torn between avoiding war and stopping nuclear proliferation. Back-channel talks failed. Iran saw its nuclear program as leverage. Intelligence suggested Iran was preparing to move nuclear material to secret locations. Fears grew that Iran would soon reach weapons-grade enrichment. The White House faced a stark choice: act now, or risk a nuclear Iran. After intense debate, military action was chosen. Targeted strikes to cripple enrichment infrastructure. But even the best-laid plans have consequences. The operation meant to secure the world may have unleashed a new nuclear threat. The crisis had begun. How did Iran move 400 kilograms of uranium undetected? Intelligence points to a sophisticated IRGC operation, planned well before the airstrikes. Using secret tunnels and disguised trucks, the uranium was likely moved during the chaos. Iran's vast geography, mountains, deserts, underground bunkers, makes hiding the material easier. The uranium could be in a single fortified site or scattered across multiple locations. Intelligence agencies are scouring satellite images and monitoring communications, but the search is daunting. The uranium is off the grid, under the control of Iran's most secretive forces. Its location is known only to a select few. The world is left in the dark, and that's what makes this so dangerous. Why is 60% enriched uranium so alarming? Natural uranium is mostly harmless, but enrichment increases its danger. Power plants use uranium enriched to 3 to 5%. Weapons need 90%. But 60% is already 90% of the way there. With 400 kilograms at 60%, Iran is a short technical step from bomb material. Just 25 kilograms of weapons-grade uranium can make a bomb. This stockpile could yield several. The risk isn't just Iran building a weapon, it's the possibility of the material being sold or stolen. In the wrong hands, even a crude device could devastate a city. The missing uranium is more than a symbol, it's a potential arsenal. This is the nightmare scenario haunting security officials worldwide. The world cannot afford to lose track of this material. The world is divided and on edge. The US and allies defend the airstrikes, blaming Iran for nuclear escalation. Russia and China condemn the strikes, accusing the US of destabilizing the region. The UN Security Council is paralyzed, unable to agree on a response. Europe is anxious and divided, criticizing both Iran's actions and the US military response. Protests erupt worldwide. Some support the strikes, others denounce them. Oil prices soar, markets tumble, and economic pain spreads. The crisis is not just political, it's hitting wallets everywhere. With no unified response, the world is more fractured than ever. The missing uranium has become a global fault line. Tensions are rising and the stakes keep climbing. In the absence of concrete facts, a relentless war of words rages across the globe. Newsrooms buzz with speculation, and every headline seems to add fuel to the fire. The world watches as accusations and denials echo from one capital to another, each statement dissected and debated in real time. The United States steps forward, accusing Iran's top leaders of orchestrating the mysterious disappearance of uranium. Officials present satellite images, intercepted communications, and classified intelligence, all pointing to a shadowy operation. The evidence, they claim, is damning. Proof that Iran is hiding something far more dangerous than the world suspects. Washington insists that Iran has been secretly diverting nuclear material, possibly for a clandestine bomb program. The message is clear: the stakes are higher than ever, and the world cannot afford to look away. But Iran fires back, denying every allegation. Officials claim the uranium was either destroyed or safely moved to declared sites under international supervision. They accuse the US of spreading misinformation and manipulating global opinion. Tehran goes further, charging that the crisis is a fabrication, an excuse for Washington to impose harsher sanctions or even justify military intervention. On the streets, protesters rally, waving banners and chanting slogans against foreign interference. Caught in the crossfire is the International Atomic Energy Agency. Denied access to key sites, its inspectors are left in the dark, unable to verify competing claims or provide clarity to a world on edge. The IAEA's repeated calls for transparency and cooperation go unanswered. Each day without answers only deepens the confusion and raises new questions about what's really happening behind closed doors. As both sides push their own narratives, the global information space becomes a battleground. Conflicting headlines and viral rumors spread rapidly, making it nearly impossible for ordinary people to know whom to trust. Meanwhile, allies and partners are forced to take sides, often without clear or convincing evidence. Diplomatic relations strain as leaders debate their next moves, wary of making the wrong choice in such a volatile situation. The debate over what truly happened becomes as critical as the search for the missing uranium itself. Experts argue, analysts speculate, and the world waits for answers that seem just out of reach. Until the truth finally emerges, suspicion and fear will continue to rule the day, casting a long shadow over international relations and the fragile peace that hangs in the balance. Where's the uranium now? Most likely, it's hidden inside Iran, deep underground or scattered in secret caches. Another possibility, it's being smuggled out, overland or by sea, to allies or proxies. The worst-case scenario, it falls into terrorist hands or is sold on the black market. Intelligence agencies are searching for clues, satellite scans, ground sources, financial trails. But the uranium has gone dark, an invisible threat. Its absence turns a potential problem into an immediate danger. Every day without answers, the risk grows. The world is racing against time. The world stands at a crossroads. A diplomatic breakthrough is possible but unlikely. Trust is in short supply. More likely is escalation, further strikes, special operations, or even regional war. Or, the world could enter a tense standoff, a new nuclear Cold War, with Iran holding a powerful deterrent. The missing uranium has changed the rules, exposing the fragility of global oversight. The choices made now will set the precedent for nuclear crises to come. The world is watching and the clock is ticking. The next move could shape the future of global security.